Have you ever noticed your loved one forgetting familiar names? Or struggling to find the right words? Maybe they've started getting lost in places they've known for years. These moments can be scary. But you're not alone. Today, we're talking about something that touches millions of families across the world. What is dementia? Dementia is not a specific disease. It's a broad term, used to describe a group of symptoms that affect memory, thinking, reasoning, language, and even behavior. When we hear the word dementia, many of us immediately think of memory loss. And yes, memory is often the first thing affected. But dementia goes much deeper than that. Imagine not being able to find the right words in a conversation, or standing in your kitchen and not remembering why you're there, or looking at a loved one's face and drawing a blank. These aren't just senior moments. They're signs that something more serious may be happening in the brain. Dementia affects the daily life of the person experiencing it. Simple tasks, like making coffee, paying bills, or even getting dressed, can become confusing, frustrating, or impossible. But here's something important to understand. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. Yes, it's true that many older adults forget things from time to time. That's normal. We all forget where we put our glasses. We all have moments where a word is just on the tip of our tongue. But dementia is different. It's progressive. It gets worse over time. And it begins to interfere with relationships, independence, and identity. There are many types of dementia. But the most common, accounting for 60 to 80% of cases, is Alzheimer's disease. In Alzheimer's, abnormal proteins build up in the brain, causing brain cells to die. Over time, this leads to shrinking of the brain and a steady loss of cognitive abilities. Another form is vascular dementia, which can occur after a stroke, or when blood flow to the brain is reduced. People with vascular dementia may have trouble planning, organizing, or making decisions. Lewy body dementia is another type, and it can cause not just memory problems, but also hallucinations, sleep disturbances, and changes in movement. There's also frontotemporal dementia, which tends to affect people at a younger age, and often begins with changes in personality, judgment, or language. Each type of dementia has its own pattern, but they all share one heartbreaking truth. They slowly take away pieces of a person's mind and memories. Right now, more than 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, and millions more are affected by other forms of dementia. As the population ages, that number is expected to grow. It's a silent storm that touches not just the person diagnosed, but their spouses, children, friends, and caregivers. Understanding what dementia really is, not just a label, but a lived experience, is the first step toward compassion, care, and action. Because behind every diagnosis is a human story. A person with a name, a history, a heart, and a life worth honoring. Warning signs: gentle, slow-paced, and empathetic narration. Recognizing the early warning signs of dementia can be challenging, especially because many of these signs may seem like normal parts of aging. But there's a difference between natural forgetfulness and something more serious. Let's take a closer look at the most common early symptoms of dementia in the elderly. Brain 1. Memory loss that disrupts daily life. Everyone forgets things from time to time, like where they put their keys or why they walked into a room. But with dementia, memory loss goes beyond the occasional lapse. It becomes persistent, and it interferes with daily life. A person may forget important dates, ask the same questions repeatedly, or rely heavily on notes and family members to remember things they once managed on their own. Calendar 2. Difficulty planning or solving problems. Dementia can make everyday tasks feel overwhelming. Following a recipe, paying bills, or following step-by-step instructions may become confusing. You may notice someone struggling with focus or taking much longer to complete tasks than before. Speech balloon 3. Trouble speaking or writing. Finding the right words can become difficult. A person may pause in the middle of a sentence, repeat themselves often, or refer to objects by unusual names, like calling a watch the time thing. Conversations may become frustrating for both the speaker and the listener. World map 4. Confusion with time or place. People with dementia may lose track of dates, seasons, or the passage of time. They might forget where they are, how they got there, or get lost in familiar surroundings, like their own neighborhood. This confusion can worsen at night, a symptom known as sundowning, when disorientation and anxiety increase in the late afternoon or evening. Magnifying glass tilted left 5. Poor judgment or decision-making. Dementia can affect a person's ability to make good decisions. They may fall for scams, give away money, forget to bathe, or dress inappropriately for the weather. Simple decisions, like what to eat or when to take medicine, may suddenly become overwhelming. Angry face 6. Changes in mood or personality. This is one of the hardest symptoms for loved ones to witness. A once kind, cheerful person may become anxious, irritable, suspicious, or even aggressive. They might lose interest in things they once loved, or show signs of depression and emotional withdrawal. Sudden mood swings, especially in unfamiliar situations, can be common. Footprints 7. Withdrawal from social activities. As the symptoms increase, people may begin to withdraw from social life. They might stop attending clubs or family events, avoid phone calls, or lose interest in hobbies. This isolation can worsen cognitive decline and lead to loneliness, which further impacts mental health. Puzzle piece 8. Misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace steps. It's normal to misplace items. But with dementia, people often put things in unusual places, like putting the remote in the freezer or the wallet in the bathroom cabinet. Worse, they may be unable to retrace their steps and, in frustration, accuse others of stealing. This goes beyond forgetfulness. It reflects a deeper change in the brain's ability to organize and recall information. These signs often begin subtly. You may not notice them at first. But over time, they grow, impacting independence, relationships, and overall well-being. That's why early awareness is so important. If you or someone you love is showing these signs, talk to a doctor. Early diagnosis can help you plan ahead, access resources, and in some cases, slow the progression. Stay informed. Stay compassionate. And remember, you're not alone. Causes and who is at risk. So, what causes dementia? Dementia happens when the brain cells, called neurons, are damaged. These cells stop communicating with each other. And when that happens, it affects the way we think, remember, and behave. But why do these brain cells get damaged? There's not one single answer. There are many causes, and each type of dementia has its own pattern. Let's look at a few common ones. First, there's Alzheimer's disease, the most common form. In Alzheimer's, proteins called plaques and tangles build up inside the brain. Over time, they block communication between brain cells and eventually cause the cells to die. This process can start many years before symptoms appear. Then there's vascular dementia, which happens when blood flow to the brain is reduced. This could be due to a stroke, clogged arteries, or other blood vessel damage. Without enough oxygen and nutrients, brain cells begin to die. Another cause is Lewy body dementia, where abnormal protein deposits, called Lewy bodies, disrupt brain function. This type of dementia often causes vivid dreams, movement problems, and even hallucinations. Frontotemporal dementia is less common but affects people at a younger age. It damages the parts of the brain responsible for personality, behavior, and language. But regardless of the type, the result is the same: a slow decline in mental function. And that's why it's so important to understand who is at risk. DNA. So, who's most likely to develop dementia? Let's talk about the risk factors. Some we can't change, but others we can do something about. Age is the #1 risk factor. Most people with dementia are 65 or older. In fact, the risk doubles every 5 years after age 65. By age 85, almost 1 in 3 people has some form of dementia. Family history is another one. If a parent or sibling had dementia, your risk may be higher. There are some genes, like the ApoE4 gene, that are linked to Alzheimer's disease. But having this gene doesn't mean you'll definitely get it. It just means you're more likely to. Then there are lifestyle and health-related factors. If you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or diabetes, your risk increases.
Why?
Because these conditions affect your blood vessels, including the ones in your brain. Damage to those vessels can lead to strokes or reduced blood flow, which harms brain tissue. Smoking and excessive alcohol use also damage the brain over time. Smoking reduces oxygen to the brain. Alcohol, especially in large amounts over many years, can lead to brain shrinkage and memory loss. Let's not forget about traumatic brain injuries, like concussions. People who've had repeated head injuries, such as athletes or veterans, may face a higher risk of dementia later in life. And finally, there's the risk factor of loneliness and social isolation. Surprisingly, being socially disconnected can increase the risk of cognitive decline. The brain needs stimulation. Conversations, human connection, laughter, these things help keep the mind sharp. So while we can't change our age or our genes, we can manage our blood pressure. We can eat better. We can stay active, both physically and mentally. And we can stay connected to the people around us. Knowledge is the first step. Because the more we understand the causes and risk factors of dementia, the better we can protect our loved ones and ourselves. What can help reduce the risk or slow down dementia? While there's no cure for dementia, science has shown that there are several ways to reduce the risk and possibly slow down its progression. These lifestyle changes can make a real difference, especially when started early. Let's explore them together. 1. Stay physically active. Regular exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have. It doesn't need to be intense or complicated. Even a 30-minute walk, 5 times a week, can improve blood flow to the brain and support overall health. Physical activity helps reduce inflammation, improve sleep, and manage other risk factors like high blood pressure and diabetes, all of which are connected to dementia. Try these simple activities. Walking in nature, swimming or water aerobics, Tai Chi or gentle yoga, dancing to your favorite music. 2. Eat a brain-healthy diet. What we eat has a direct impact on brain health. The Mediterranean diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, olive oil, and fish, has been linked to a lower risk of dementia. Some call it the best anti-Alzheimer's diet. It provides the body with antioxidants and healthy fats that nourish brain cells and reduce damage. Also, try to limit processed foods, sugary drinks, red meats, excessive salt. Hydration is also key. Dehydration in older adults can lead to confusion and memory issues. 3. Keep the brain active. The brain is like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it stays. Stimulating the mind helps build something called cognitive reserve, a sort of mental savings account that helps the brain cope with changes. Activities that can help include reading books or newspapers, solving puzzles or crosswords, playing strategy games like chess, learning a new language or skill, playing a musical instrument. Even learning how to use a smartphone or computer can be a great brain exercise. 4. Stay socially connected. Loneliness and isolation can increase the risk of dementia. Staying connected with others, whether through family, friends, church groups, or volunteer work, supports emotional and mental well-being. Simple things like having coffee with a neighbor, joining a club, or talking to a loved one on the phone can uplift the mind and spirit. 5. Get quality sleep. Sleep is the brain's time to repair and recharge. Poor sleep or conditions like sleep apnea can increase the risk of memory problems. Create healthy sleep habits. Stick to a routine. Avoid screens before bed. Keep the bedroom quiet, cool, and dark. Limit caffeine in the evening. 6. Take care of your heart. What's good for your heart is good for your brain. Managing conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, and diabetes is essential. Regular checkups with a doctor, taking medications as prescribed, and monitoring your health numbers can all help protect the brain. 7. Protect your head. Falls and head injuries are more dangerous as we age. Use seatbelts, wear helmets when biking, and make your home fall-proof. Even small head traumas can increase the risk of dementia later in life. These steps may seem simple, but when practiced consistently, they can protect the mind and improve quality of life. It's never too early or too late to start taking care of your brain. Even small changes can have a big impact over time. Let's help our loved ones and ourselves live longer, healthier, and more connected lives. Because every memory matters. Dementia is difficult, but early awareness and compassionate care can make a difference. If you or someone you love shows signs, talk to a doctor. You are not alone, and there is help. Take care of your mind. Take care of your heart. And take care of the people you love. Brain Red Heart, thank you for watching Health 999.